I'm here today with Russell June and his wife, Pon. Thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to your sharing with us. In June, Russell and Pon and their daughter T will be beginning their ministry work in Thailand. Russell, how did you become involved in this ministry?
Well, Pon is originally from Thailand, and we're actually going to her hometown. And I was there visiting her in 2016. Actually, it was on Christmas Day. And I wanted to go to church that day, and I thought, well, you know, this place is 98% Buddhist. It's highly unlikely we'll find a Christian church. But Pon then introduced me to Christian Mission Narachakwai in her village. And the director of that mission was her former third grade teacher. And it was then that I heard God's call to serve this mission.
But that was not your original call to faith, is that correct?
No, not my original call. The name of the mission is Christian Mission Narachakwai, and I know that's a mouthful to say, so hereinafter we'll call it CMN. And it was founded by the late Dr. John Middlewood, who was a member of the Advent Christian Church in Smithfield, North Carolina. Just by chance, he married Pon's former third grade teacher, Mayo, and she continued running the mission after he passed away. So while I was there, you know, one thing that made me feel this call is as we were driving through the villages, we saw idols everywhere. I also saw child neglect, animal neglect, a lot of crime, absolute poverty. And it was at that point that I felt that the people in Thailand need to have Jesus in their life. The area we'll be visiting is in northeast Thailand, and it has the least number of missionaries per capita, but while it is targeted by at least one mission agency. In Genesis 12, verse 1, it says, this is what the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your land, your relatives, and your father's house to the land that I will show you." And interestingly, Thailand is only one of 2 foreign countries that I've ever visited. The other one was Japan when I was a Boy Scout during the Jamboree.
Pon, knowing that 98% roughly of all people are Buddhist in Thailand, how did you come to know about Jesus?
My daughter T went to CMN to learn English. But when she came home, she talked about children's story from the Bible. At that time, I have a lot of problems in my life. One Sunday, I went to see John Middlewood's wife at the church. I was waiting in the back of the room at the church. And the pastor was teaching the Bible, but I wasn't listening because I was still a Buddhist. When I was waiting to her and feel peace in my heart, I never feel before in my life. And then I decided to be a Christian and got baptized.
That same day or another time?
Yes.
Wow.
Same day.
My goodness. The Bible teaches that God gives Christian believers certain gifts to make the church grow stronger. How did you see God using you in any of these ways to contribute your gifts?
Yes, I am trying to understand what gift God have given to me. But I know if the Thai people change their life, there will be a better life, and they need to understand it's important to be honest and serve other people and manage money and take care of themselves. I will do whatever God wants me to do. Russell can teach, but he doesn't speak Thai language. He needs for me to translate God's message to Thai people. I will learn from experience and teach the gospel on my own. My daughter is homeschooled and she has the Bible study daily. She can teach the Bible story and simple English lesson to the children.
Thank you for sharing that. Russell, it's my understanding that your plans are that you will make 2 month-long trips each year to Thailand to carry out this ministry. What do you hope to accomplish during that time?
Well, we're going to be working with the former members of CMN. Sadly, the church closed in February of this year for a number of reasons. Today, just a few of the members are left, and they're holding services online. But what we want to do is encourage them to resume corporate worship. Also, if God permits us, plant new churches in the area.
What challenges do you see in this mission?
So the church used to teach English lessons to the children, but that ceased kind of around last fall. And as a result of that, it lost the majority of its parishioners. So today there's probably less than 10 people left in the church. But I think the key point here is to get through to the heads of the household. Because children were coming to the church, but what was really interesting is that I could drive by on any given Sunday and the church there was no one there. And I asked, where is everyone? And they were at some Buddhist event in town. So we need to get through the heads of the household so they can support their children's faith and teach them the gospel. Another reason the church closed is because they were heavily dependent on financial help from the West. And they need to be taught God's systematic plan of giving. We want the church to become mature, indigenous, and self-supportive. The Bible teaches us to give with a generous heart. And as Christians, we're called to give generously. This is something that Thai people need to learn. John 3:16 tells us that Jesus died on the cross, and God gave him to us because he loved us so much. That should be the clue that we need to be willing to make sacrifices and give. The area that we'll be visiting is called the Isan area. It's in northeast Thailand. It's considered the poverty belt of the area. Most of the families there are subsistence farmers that make very little money. They eat their rice, which is their main crop. And if there's any excess, they'll sell it, and they essentially get paid once a year. Many of these people are in debt. They lose their homes, their land. They need to be taught proper money management, which is something I believe I can help with because I teach similar classes in prisons today. The leadership in the church has been largely autocratic. And what we need to teach people is that the members should have specific roles, and those roles need to be defined. Lastly, there's a real lack of outreach in the church. We need to get out in the community and tell people about the gospel.
Russell, one of the things that came to my mind is how many people have a Bible or are able to read, and has it been translated into the native languages in Thailand?
That's a great question. The language that is spoken in Thailand is called Central Thai, and this is what's actually taught in the schools. Now, anyone who lives in Thailand can understand the Central Thai language. However, in her part of the country, in the northeast, the Isan area, they have their own dialect. So it's kind of like about 70% of the words will actually translate over. I would liken it to someone from the Bronx talking to a Cajun. They're both English, but little different versions of. But there is also a Bible written in the native Isan language as well. There is one publisher in Thailand called Thailand Bible Society, which is in the Chiang Mai area, that's northern Thailand, close to China, where almost 10% of the population is Christians.
And from a lot of missionaries that I've talked to, that's an important step for people to have a Bible to read in their own language.
Yes, very much so.
So I'm glad it's at least becoming available. Russell, how could Advent Christians help to support this ministry?
Well, there's 3 things actually. One is to go. Join Team Thailand. And the more touches, the stronger church we're going to have there. So go. The second thing is give. We're going to make these trips twice a year to Thailand. It's going to cost us roughly about $20,000 in travel expenses alone. So we're hoping to somehow raise that.
Now, is that per trip?
No, that's for the 2 trips.
Okay.
But keep in mind, about 60% of that is air transportation alone. Then you've got ground transportation. So, it's going to be largely self-funded. So, any help would certainly be appreciated. And the third is to pray. Pray for the spiritual needs of the Thai people. Pray for the children and the heads of the household so they could physically attend church. The online churches, I guess, is better than nothing, but the the fellowship element is missing, and that's hugely important. And then pray that God will allow ACGC to plant new churches in Thailand.
And how exactly would people give?
Okay. If you can donate by check, the check should be sent directly to ACGC, and in the memo line write Thailand Travel. What will happen is ACGC will then house the funds until we're ready to use it. For financial support, checks can be mailed directly to Advent Christian General Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, also known as ACGC. And the checks, you should make a note on the check for Thailand Travel. And what will happen is ACGC will house the funds until we need them and then release them.
And then after your travels, your first trip, why don't we get together again and have you share some of your experiences?
I'd be happy to do that. We'll be taking a lot of pictures. We are going to hold a worship service there with all the old members. Mm-hmm. Then kind of see where they're at. So a lot of this trip is sort of a survey, so I'm sure I'll have a lot to share.
And how long has it been since you were in Thailand?
Last time was a little over 3 years ago.
And a lot has happened in the world.
A lot has changed. Our plans were put on delay because of COVID. Our life changed. We were living in Los Angeles at the time. Now we're here. This was supposed to be a temporary 1-year stay, and it doesn't look like we're leaving anytime soon.
And here is at the Advent Christian Village in Dowling Park, Florida.
Yes.
Well, it's been wonderful having both of you here today, and I just pray that your trip will be blessed by God, and I know God has plans for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.